Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you my Mabon wrap-up. Okay, guys, as I was saying in my introduction, today I'm bringing you my Mabon wrap-up, and as for those of you who haven't seen the channel, I do a wrap-up for Mabon, and I mean from the moment that Mabon starts all the way to when Samhain is going to start. So for that period of time, I've actually been working a lot about on my inner child, and I've been having a lot of emotional release from previous experiences and from my past, and I've been working really hard on trying to understand my inner child and my reactions today that stem from those experiences that I went through when I was a kid. And honestly, it's been doing such an amazing job for my emotional hygiene, and my journaling has expanded even more than it usually does. It's amazing. I wanted to show you guys some of the pages because usually I write just a paragraph, but for Mabon, well, let me see if I can bring it down over here. For Mabon, as you guys can see, these are all 4 different tarots, and look at the size of these paragraphs, guys. And that's for all of these pages. It's just been so rewarding. All of the work that I've been doing, some of the self-development and the growth that I've been doing as a person, just by working with my inner child and trying to bring stuff from my past that I know I haven't worked on, or I haven't worked on in a while. It's been doing wonders, like I was saying, for my emotional hygiene, and actually also for my relationship. A lot of the interactions that I have with my husband stem from interactions that I used to have with others growing up, and that was fascinating to explore and to write about and know about myself. So that was awesome. And I used 2 decks for that during this period. I think I'm going to do the same thing for the next season, which would be Samhain. But for now, I am going to show you first the tarot that I use for my normal journaling. And actually, I have an oracle this time, and this is the Alice the Wonderland Oracle by Lucy Cavendish and artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith, if I remember correctly. Oh, I don't even have to remember because this is right here, guys. Okay, but usually I used to use, no, I'm sorry, I still use this oracle for inner child work because Alice in Wonderland, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, sorry guys, is one, it's actually my favorite book, not one of my favorites, it is my favorite book. Let me see if I can bring this down so that we can see these beautiful cards better. And I have such a connection to Alice in Wonderland because it is the first book that I read by myself after my grandmother taught me how to read. So it is my favorite book. I read it every year for my birthday, and this deck really connects me to that book, and also Through the Looking Glass as well, which is the second book in the series, by the way, guys. And I had such an amazing time working with this deck. I always do. This deck is able to transport me to the happy places that I experienced in my childhood, or the happy experiences that I had during my childhood, and also some of the sad ones, but mostly the happy ones. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland always makes me really happy and always makes me smile because it's just so ridiculous, and ridiculous in a really good way, and silly and beautiful. And you know, there's not really a plot in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Alice goes to one crazy character to the other, and she doesn't really learn anything, and the story doesn't really move along, or there's no storyline, but it's still my favorite book and I still love it. And I love the images of the Cheshire Cat because they're also different, but they're all still the Cheshire Cat. They just feel like the Cheshire Cat. So I really like using this deck, and if I could use it more, I would, but I have to give the chance to other Oracle and other decks that I have, guys. But yeah, so journaling with this deck is always an experience. I do my best to relate it to both the books, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, while I'm working with it. And Lucy Cavendish actually does a really amazing job pairing the cards with quotes from the books. So I don't have any complaints about that. It's amazing. And the journaling that I do with this tarot usually was tied to inner child, but this time I decided to use it just as regular, a regular journal deck, But I decided to use it as well because if anything from my inner child would come up in the days that I didn't have planned for inner child work, then I would accept that, especially coming from this deck. And overall, I believe maybe just once it happened that I had to explore more a theme that I got from the previous day, and this deck reinforced the fact that I needed to write more about that and explore more about that and learn more about that. So that was awesome. Actually, before I start rambling even more about this deck, this was the deck that made me find out or made me realize the issue that I have with people celebrating my birthday. I actually don't let people know my birthday, and I don't like receiving gifts on my birthday or even other people telling me happy birthday. This deck was the deck that made me find out why that was. This deck made me realize that growing up, birthday parties, regardless if it were mine or if it were other people's, it was just another excuse for my family to get together and, well, do other things that I don't align with. Let's just say, because I don't want to get into it, especially not in this video, guys. So growing up, I still have actually not. I still haven't recovered from that. I still have this aversion to my birthday, and it's been until very recently that I've come to the idea, or I've come to explore giving people the chance to celebrate my birthday again. It's gonna be very difficult for me, and it's still very difficult for me, but I want to give myself the chance to do that, and this was the deck that made me realize that. Again, there's a whole lot of things that I could unpack with that, and I could say about that, but right now we're talking about my Mabon wrap-up. Maybe I'll open up about that even more at another occasion. But yeah, so very happy, always very happy using Alice in Wonderland Oracle. It's an amazing deck. This is the re-release, guys. I believe the first deck, I did have the other one, but I used the cards so much that they were, I needed to buy a new one. I like this one better because the previous one had the rose petal finish, which I don't hate. I actually do. But the deck was so much thicker, and this one is just right. This one is just, and it slips in. If you guys riffle shuffle decks, I'm sure that you could do that. I just don't anymore. But anyway, moving on. I also used for my regular journaling the Lost Hollow Tarot by Pixel Cult. This is the deck that's based on the Tot Tarot. There's even additional cards that you can use. There's an additional strength, and there's an additional justice card, so that you can replace them or switch them over if that's what you want. But this is the whoops. There we go, guys. It's linen cardstock. It's a little slippery, but I like using this deck, especially before Halloween, because it just allows me to prepare for Samhain and the Halloween season. And it's just such a cool deck. And not to mention that the color palette is just one of my favorites. I mean, red, black, white, and gray. Just look at this. It looks so amazing, guys. And honestly, this deck doesn't read like a Tot Tarot to me. It reads like a Rider-Waite-Smith that was inspired by the Tot Tarot. I'm not saying that Pixel Cult did a bad job with it, because I love this art, and I love their art, and I love the themes that were explored in this deck specifically. But it reads Rider-Waite-Smith to me. It doesn't read Tot Tarot to me. Love this fortune card. I mean, look at that. It's just so obscure, and the deck feels occult, and it feels whimsical. It feels, oh, you know what it feels like? It feels almost like a Tim Burton movie. That's what it feels like to me. And I guess that's why I like it. Tim Burton is one of my favorite directors, and I love this little ones. The fact that this being is the world, it's pretty cool. Oh, let me see. What am I doing, guys, over here? We have the traditional Three of Swords that I really, it's fine. At least it doesn't have the heart being pierced by the swords, and it has a rose. Which I guess it's probably the same thing. Poetically, Shakespearean. But this is a beautiful depiction of the traditional Three of Swords. Very beautiful. This deck has a really cool feature where all of the majors has the Fool in it. So we follow the Fool in it in their journey through the major arcana, and the Fool is a raven or a crow. It's not very specific on that, because I actually read the little guidebook, and it's not really specific about the raven or the crow, or if it is, I missed it. But I feel like it's a Corbett. It has to be a Corbett, and that's what I'm going for. I love this devil card. It's so good. It's so well depicted. This is amazing. This is an amazing devil. But yeah, honestly, this deck tends to be very straightforward and honest. And I also, I don't know if it was because the other decks were making me write more, but this deck also made me write extensively, and it usually doesn't. This deck is actually very, very direct, very straight to the point. Very, here's what you need to know. Deal with it. This time it seemed a little more taking its time with me, and I really appreciate it, because I really needed it for this season. It's funny how your decks know you so well. But yeah, I love this Magician card. I do have another one of their decks. I think it's the Red Hand Tarot. That one is strictly Rider-Waite-Smith, or maybe I want to say, yeah, no, it's Rider-Waite-Smith, definitely. I was gonna say the Golden Dawn inspired, but no, it's Rider-Waite-Smith. This Five of Cups, good God, I love that cape. Oh, so good. But yes, I don't complain about Pixel Cult's decks. I just wish that I would have supported this deck when it came out first, because I think this is the third edition of this deck, which didn't come edged like this one, guys. I actually did that myself, because it just went so well, and it's so good. Look at that. Oh, it's so good. But yes. So that is the Lost Hollow Tarot by Pixel Cult. And now, the two tarot that I used for my inner child work. Oh, is this the chariot over here? Whoopsie. There we go. I used the Tranquil Night Wisdom Tarot by New Round. And this tarot is actually Chinese inspired. And I did read the guidebook before I worked with it. But of course, I kept coming back to it and rereading the entries on the beings that are being portrayed here, because there are 78 different mythic and folkloric characters from ancient Chinese mythology, and I'm not able to remember all of their names. But so I kept coming back to the book so that I can refresh my mind as to why they were chosen for that specific archetype. And this deck is amazing, to say the least. I can definitely say that if you want a deck for inner child work that allows you the time to work through your issues when you were growing up, this is definitely that deck. This deck is incredibly kind and it's very gentle, but it does like to tell you things as they are, which I really appreciate. This is a deck that allows you the time to explore hurtful things and gives you the time that you need to do that, allows you the time to write about it, and allows you the time to think about it and to carry it with you throughout the day. This deck is not a deck for results or how to resolve those experiences. This is a deck that allows you to be analytical, to be methodical, to really understand what is the root and the cause of that memory or of that hurtful thing that happened, or even that uncertainty, that doubt that you have from growing up. It's an amazing deck for that. As you guys saw in my journal, I wrote a lot when I used this deck, and I wrote even more when using the other deck that I'm going to show you guys. But this was very soothing, and it wasn't condescending, and it wasn't it didn't rush you. It didn't feel like this deck was rushing you, which is, I believe, something that you need for inner child work. You need time. You need to allow yourself to really come down to the root of what's bothering you and what really is that cause. Because we can think that we know what it is, but when we keep exploring, maybe it's not anger. Maybe it's not disappointment. Maybe it's just sadness. Maybe the thing that needs to be accepted is the fact that you were a kid and you had absolutely no power to change the situation, and feeling like you could have, it's probably not the healthiest thing. This is that deck. That's what this deck feels like. I would love to read to others and with others using this deck. I feel like the messages that this deck would bring would be extremely soothing and gentle, and people would have realizations with the messages that this deck brings to you. If you have the opportunity to, I'll have a full review of this. Maybe I'll read for others using this deck, and I'll wait for that, so that I would know how this deck refers, and I'll tell you guys. But yeah, as you guys can see, this deck is incredibly colorful. Even the scary images like this one, they're just silly and very colorful. And they're also very whimsical, but they have this children's illustration book feel to them, which I really enjoy. And actually, that was the reason why I got this deck, because I didn't have any decks that look like this that were inspired by children's books, like little kids, children, like toddlers. And this deck definitely hit the spot, guys. Cannot complain one bit about this beautiful deck. And it is gilded, which I don't like, but what can we do? Well, it's not that I don't like you guys. You guys know what it is. You guys have seen my videos before. Not that I don't like the gilding. It's just that I don't like the fact that it chips. It chips out. It chips away. It chips away. Okay, the last deck that I used is the whimsical Realm of Oddities Tarot, also by New Round. New Round has a reputation now with me of creating really cool inner child work decks. Oh, these are the beautiful backs, guys, by the way. I think this is the only tarot deck that I have with an orange back. But this deck is also very beautiful, and as you guys can see, it's very skeletal. It's quite Aussian, and it doesn't shy from going dark, even though it is a very childish deck, which I very much love and appreciate. This deck is super chatty, guys. I haven't read for others using this deck, but I know that the minute that I will, this deck will just be non-stop chatty, because that's exactly what happened when I was doing my daily draws with this deck. I just couldn't stop writing. I had to stop myself from writing because I was like, I just need to move on to the next thing that I need to do. During the day, I do follow a schedule. I love that. And this deck almost prevented me from doing other things that I do in my schedule. So I love this Four of Pentacles. I love that it has werewolves. I love this werewolf. It's just so cute and it's so good. Oh my god, it's so adorable. But yes, it's a very chatty deck. Definitely, even though I have not read for others, I already know that this deck does not like large spreads, because it'll just be a non-stop conversation. In 40 minutes will turn into an hour, and an hour will turn into an hour and a half, and it's time again that I don't have. So but regardless of that, just with one card, this deck was able to answer multiple questions. What do I mean by that? So when I was doing my daily draws and I was working on my inner child work, the question that I asked was, what does my inner child want me to know or work on today? And let's say I got the Empress, and I immediately knew that I had to talk about my mom. And I started writing about my mom and thinking about her raising us when we were children. And my mom had to do this alone, and she didn't have anybody else, and she thrived as a single mom, and she did what was best, and I understand that. And then maybe I wanted to explore something that I didn't like that my mom did, and then I would ask, how does the Empress relate to that specific thing that my mom did that I didn't like? And then I would get an answer immediately. Just for, I didn't have to take another card. I would just keep relating it to the Empress. And then when more questions came out or came up, I would still ask the question to the Empress, or to the card that I had, in this case, using the example of the Empress, but the card that I had drawn, and it would provide me with an answer. It's that much of a chatty deck that with just one card, it's allowing you to see all of these layers and have all of these different possibilities and different feelings and different things to explore. No wonder I wrote so much. It's just it was amazing. I have never had an inner child work process like I did this Mabon. My whole previous exploration to inner child work was never this successful and was never this profound. Inner child work used to leave me with more questions. This time around, the questions got answered, and it made my emotional state so much better, and I learned so many things, and I know that I still need to learn more stuff, and I know that I'm going to continue using the Whimsical Realm tarot, Whimsical Realm of Oddities tarot for that in the future. But right now, I have other decks, and I want to use them as well. And this would actually be a really cool deck for Samhain as well, um, especially starting in Halloween. I love these lovers cards; they're so cute. It's just I love a deck that is whimsical, and it's such a caricature of itself, and it's making fun of itself. It's making fun of tarot, but it's also an homage to it, guys. Um, so that is very very refreshing because I know it can be done, and I just have seen it done so many times, but not very successfully. And I feel like this deck did do that successfully. I mean, look at this Queen of Swords. Oh, she's so fabulous. I love her. It's yeah. I think the next time that I think the next time that I use this deck, I'm going to use it for a normal journal session and see how that does. But at least for inner child work, or maybe I should wait to review these decks until I have worked with them, not only with others but also as regular journal tarot decks. I think that would be best. But as in any case, um, very happy with my Mabon journaling and the decks that I use for the Mabon season. Very clearly, it's it's been very transformative. Very appreciative of that. Definitely. Now with this inner child work that I did, I know that that even though it is still very difficult, at least I know that I can get answers from it and not feel like I'm not doing a good job with it. But as in any case, guys, these were the decks that I used for the Mabon season. Let me know in the comments below what decks you use, and if you are being called to use any of these decks that I just showed you guys, I would be happy to learn about them. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this space with me, and I'll see you on the next time. Bye bye, YouTube. Pero lento, 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 sin pena ni tormento. Oh, oh, oh. Where's my drink?